Hey everybody, this is me, Undead Viking. I want to talk to you about this game. It is called Street Kings. It is a racing game from my friends over at Board to Death. I've always thought about designing a board game, but they actually did, and good for them. This is a fun, cool little worker placement racing game that I've had a lot of fun with playing with my buddies. This is not like racing around a track type racing. This is that dragster racing that's part of those, like, I don't know, Tokyo Drift movies or something? I don't know. I don't watch those types of movies. But anyway, regardless to the theme, I actually really enjoyed this one. So let me show you how to play Street Kings, then we'll come back here and I'll tell you more about what I dig. Alright, cool. Alright, this is Street Kings. I just want to give you kind of an overview of how the game is played. I'm not going to go through every individual rule. Well, that's me. I'll probably end up going through each individual rule. But regardless, so this is what you see in front of you. When people think racing games, they think, oh, where's the big track? And this is not like a track type of game. A little abstract in which this is the racing area here. And at the beginning of the game, the first player will determine the level of racing that you're going for. Now, at the beginning of the game, each person gets a D, as in dog, ranked car. Each person gets 2. You start with 2, they are D. And you can't ever, like, buy D cars again. But you get these 2, and the cars basically have a price that theoretically you paid for them, though you get these for free. This is the taking it to the street show price, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. But and each car has stats, and so and you can see that there's there's speed and acceleration and handling and brakes, and so then each one has stats, and then you're going to be increasing those stats by purchasing equipment or crew, and then also like higher level cars will have higher level abilities. But what happens is that you are going to be racing, and each person gets 3 of these track cards to begin with. And the tracks themselves, these will be like the races you're on. They have the exact same stats underneath. So this is acceleration, that's brakes, brakes and speed. And we didn't get it doesn't look like we got a handling one. We didn't get a steering wheel. But so basically, if these are the tracks that are on there, and you have a car that's on there, so like if you had a car that had really good brakes and really good top speed, you'd get more spaces on the race as you play. And then here's the placing markers for, like, so first place we get 4,000 and so forth. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but you have these 3 cards in your hand, and you're kind of hoping that you can be able to set up the race, kind of like picking where you're going to be racing your car, and you're going to be building a car that's really good for that. But there's all this kind of back and forth, because you need to be able to not only have a very fast, very agile, very good car, but you also need to make money. And you make money by showing off your car here, or by selling off your old cars and what have you, and winning races to get the money as well. So basically what happens is that on your turn, you have several different actions that you can take. You can go over here and you can buy new cars. Now these are level C cars, and you can see these are more expensive, and their little show price is more as well. And then this is like kind of a very average car all across, so 1 star on each one. And that one's 7,000. Here's an $8,000 car. It has 1 star, but then it has 2 stars on the braking, things like that. If you don't like any of the cars as the option, you can wipe them, put them on the bottom of the deck, and draw 3 new ones. However, you can't buy, if you have it right now at the very beginning of the game, you can only buy a C-rated car. If you wanted to have get a B-rated car, you would have to have a C-rated car already, and of course then to get an A-rated car, you'd have to have a B-rated car. Now the big thing is at the beginning of this, since everybody's got a D, you have to race a D car in a D level race. Later on, players who get a C car will go here, and then you can still race a one step lesser car in those races, and you might end up having to do that. But obviously they're not going to do as well. But you can never have like a C-rated car in a D race. Makes sense, right? Okay, so cool. So one of the other actions you can take is you can try to plot the course. And so this is, and basically each person's taking one of these actions, and it goes around the table, and each person takes an action, and you have to kind of weigh what you're going to do. Now there's only, as you can see, 2 spots for the races, race 1, race 2, and only race 2 determines the actual prize money for the races. So all of these are exactly the same, but here, I'll just grab a bunch of cards here and I'll show you. So, but some of these actually, like you can see, has 5,000, and some of these have this like little red marker here. What that means is the person who places first, like if the person who places first has a really good braking car, they are going to lose those brakes if they have a brake card, like that the equipment that they've added to their car. They're going to lose that basically because of the fact that, you know, they went so fast and so good on the race that they've actually busted a part of the car in doing so. But if you decide to take one of these 2 places, you do get to draw a card from the top. And then you get to take one of your cards and you get to place it, and if the first place is taken, you put it in the second one, but the first one you can, you know, pick one. And so right now, like obviously you're trying to pick one that will work really well for your car. You know, we got this car that has really good top speed. Maybe we're going to race that one. So we take this and we put it face down. We don't let other people say it. They have no idea what type of car we've picked there. Now, they might guess by looking at the other, like the cars that we have, or maybe the different bonuses that we put on, like certain like things as far as certain abilities and certain added equipment. They might have a good guess at those, but you know, they might not know. You know, it's something where it's kind of a grab bag, if you will. And so then let's just say, like, here, somebody else put this one down there. I won't even look at it. So like, so somebody else. So once those 2 are picked, they're done. You can't do anything about it. You know, that's over with. Now over here in the Street Kings car show, there's 3 spots with lesser players. I'm playing with 4 players, so there's 3 spots. When you get down to the 3, you have what's called a no parking spot, which you're gonna have blocking one of the spots on there, so you can't do it. Now, as long as there's open spots, you can keep putting cars into this location. However, you can't put your last car in there. You have to leave a car available for a race. And the thing is once you put a car over in here, they can't go to the race. They're stuck there. Everybody's ooh and awing over their car. And what happens is that basically whatever this yellow value is over here, that plus like if you purchased any, you know, like here's like, you know, some really good brakes or whatever, and so like, you know, they know you, so you'd add all of that. So if you put that car in there and you had already purchased, you know, this ability on it, it's like this one would be worth $2,000 if you went ahead and put that one and sent that to the car show. People look at that, they're like, ooh, and then you immediately get that $2,000 for going to the car show. But remember, it stays there for the entire time. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but, you know, makes sense, obviously. So here is the dealership as far as like what you can get as far as bonuses to your car. Some of these are just like crew. You notice the crew doesn't have any bonus. Having somebody sitting there working on your car or whatever doesn't matter. Crew, you can have as many crews you want attached to a car. They just sit there and they work on their car. The one thing is once you attach something to a car, you can't take them off, so you got to keep that in mind. But like crew, just like this one would add a top speed, or an acceleration I should say, to it. Some of them, like these, you know, here you go, like this is just a really good engine. You can see there's the top speed, and there. Now the one rule that you have is that, say like you add this to this car, so you add that on like that. One thing, you can't have multiple types. So I couldn't then, like if I got this brakes, I couldn't get this brakes, and I couldn't then add even better brakes. You can't have the same, 2 of the same thing, so you have to. One of the things also is that this this car part, or whatever, is that they, like once this is out, it's gone. That stuff's gone. You can't do anything with it, and you can't, and you don't replenish it. You replenish it the next turn, because basically they only have a certain amount of stock, and once that stuff's gone, you can't buy anymore. Remember, the cars, you can always just reshuffle them and purchase cars. You can also sell cars, and you can sell equipment. When you sell a car, you get half value rounded up, plus any of the bonus stuff they put in. So if you put like, you know, a $2,000 brakes in there and $2,000 worth of engine into like this car, that'd be an $8,000 car. Have it, be worth $4,000, and you just give you that $4,000. You can do a sell and a buy at the same time as well. Once again, half and then buy it. So like you can just, you know, trade in your cars. The big thing is that you can also sell equipment. Like if like better stuff comes available, you know, like better brakes and things like that, you can sell those items and then to purchase something else, including you can fire your people, but obviously like firing them don't get any money back. But you know, so you know, it makes sense. You know, just like if you're gonna sell equipment, you get half back, and then you get to then, you know, adjust the money. Remember, you always round up. There's no like if you sell $3,000, you don't get $1,500, you get $2,000. So you always move up on that. So after all is said and done, what happens is that you then can declare your car, and I don't have any equipment, but like let's say you declare your car, and this is the one that's going to race. And then if you're the first person, you go ahead and you put it in the first spot, and then people keep going. And once you go there, you're done. You're like you've said, okay, I'm ready to race. I'm ready to go. You probably are there because you ran out of money, and there's nothing really you can do to upgrade. And once all is said and done, and as soon as everybody's got their car in there, you will then go ahead and flip over the first spot, and then you just total up like the bonuses that you have in both, like, you know, speed and handling. And then each person will just say, oh, I got a total of 3, and then like, you know, I got a total of 2, I got a total of 4, and I got a total of 1, you know. And the bonus here is that the first person who goes, they go first, and if they can reach the finish line first, then obviously they win. So then you turn the next card over, and then you look at this one, and it's brakes and handling. And so like, let's say we only had 3 of those total, but blue, you know, had 4, and then yellow crosses, and then they go to there, and then the next turn. But see, someone didn't finish, and so what you do then is that you go back to the first one. You're just kind of doing laps, if you will, and then you would just probably go doot, 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 and then red would be last, you know. So then you pay out whatever the race is. You use this as your payout. In this case, if yellow had like really good brakes, they'd lose a brake card for doing it, and they'd have to discard that. And then you pay it through those payouts, and then for each victory, you get like yellow, you get these little cards to represent the trophy that you get for that particular race. So once you get those trophies, then if you have 2 of another trophy, so like if you have 2 red, you have to upgrade those to silver, and 2 silver, or I should say to bronze, and then 2 bronze upgrades to silver, and 2 silver upgrades to gold. Now, once somebody has got 7 gold trophies, and they have to earn the 7th one. They have to earn it by completing a race. You have one last big race, and then you, with your one last big race, you do it. You have to do it at an A level, and so. And if you don't, this is probably like this last turn, everybody's selling off everything they possibly can to get a really nice, you know, A-level card. And you can see these are fast, obviously, and much better and more expensive and what have you, and obviously pretty nice. And the artwork for this game is really nice, I have to admit. And so then you basically soup up and you have one big final race. And, you know, at this point, usually everybody's kind of even on these trophies. And then you have one final race, and then, remember, the first player will determine which type of race you have, but then the last one has to be an A-level race. You race to A, you hand out the last trophies, and whoever has the most gold trophies will win the game. Oh, one thing I should have mentioned, that you do actually slide these when you pick the car, depending on the stats, you slide these to show that, and that's a really easy way to tabulate how good you are as far as, you know, like the quickness or each stat you have for the cars. So there you go, and like I said, you just play that over a period of turns, and as soon as you have the last big race, whoever has the most gold trophies, as I said, wins the game. So there you go. That should give you a really good idea of how to play Street Kings. It's weird. It's a racing game, but it's kind of abstract as well, and it's kind of like a really cool like worker placement as well. And I really dig worker placement, and I like racing games, so I knew I was going to like this, and I did. So let me tell you more about Street Kings in my conclusion. All right, thank you very much for learning how to play Street Kings. It's pretty straightforward. One of the things I really like about like worker placement. This kind of is worker placement, but not really. I mean, there's no workers really being put, but basically you are taking actions, each person taking, and you're using up the spots on the board. And I like games that do that. I like games where I get to use up spots, so I'm preventing other people from doing them. And it's also one of those things where it's like you kind of determine when you're done. And I've always liked games where it's just like, if you're the first person to like kind of say, I'm done, I'm passing the rest, placing your thing, you're that first car. You're first, and like and that's a huge bonus, because of the fact that most of the cars are going to end up kind of being the same. So it is one of those things where being first really helps out. Now, I did forget one rule, and I apologize. I just thought of it here as I was starting to do this. That last race, the last big race, you don't pick the tracks. The tracks are completely random and are picked, so you'd have no idea what those two are. And so it's kind of random and kind of like, ooh, I hope my car works really well for that. And I kind of like that as well. It's kind of like, I don't know, if they blindfold you and you just drop your car in somewhere and then say, go! But I like that like, there's one stage that you just can't plan for, and a little chaos in a game like this never hurt anyone. So, I like I said, I like racing games. I really like Formula D. I really like Thunder Alley. I like the racing theme, and I like worker placement. So this is just kind of like Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, the marriage of two things that are awesome to go together. It is challenging. Artwork is beautiful. It is also highly competitive. A lot of these games, as I say, are garden games. You just kind of do your own thing, and you just kind of say, but this is something where your garden doesn't get tested at the end of the game. Like, ooh, did you have a pretty garden? Oh, my garden was like 2 points prettier than yours. No, this is a game where your garden is your car, and if you don't make a really good car, you're kind of screwed. And so it is a highly competitive game, which is something that you don't usually find in a game like this, in a strategy Euro, if you will. So for all those reasons, and like just the fact that like, look, it's made by a buddy of mine, and that I mean, I would tell him if the game stunk, trust me. But the game is a lot of fun, and I'm really pleased to tell you that if you like worker placement, if you like racing games, I think this is a no-brainer for you. I'd highly suggest you check it out. If you have any questions about the game, please, by all means, post away, and I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and until next time, I am the Undead Viking. I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.